Indiana County District Attorney Bob Manzi with us. Conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. I'm assuming that as Pennsylvania continues to open the doors a little bit wider to a return to normal business operations, that it's that way at the courthouse as well?
It's that way at the courthouse. We just had a jury trial completed last week in which we had a felony criminal mischief case. The defendant was found guilty there. We've had now 2 terms of jury trials. We have another term coming up next week. We have 2 terms scheduled this month in June. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing that expansion to the jury trials. We anticipate that will continue and only expand more. So we are in full swing over at the courthouse.
Pretty big backlog, or are you going to be able to manage it?
We have a good backlog. I would say comparing to other counties of our size, we're in better shape throughout the Commonwealth. Mm-hmm. There's some counties that haven't had jury trials in a year. So we're doing very well. Our court and our court administration, our judges, have done a fantastic job of trying to get through jury trials in a safe way for our staff, for the jurors that come in. So we've been able to manage it. So we will continue to manage it that well. And just naturally, as the jury trials begin, what we find is the defendants that were kind of holding out hope that some other conclusion to the case would happen. Now that their feet are being held to the fire, you have that jury trial, they're coming in. That's when you start seeing more guilty pleas. That's when you start seeing more cases moving forward.
Still picking juries at the KCAC?
We're still picking juries at the KCAC, which has been phenomenal. It's been a huge help. We've only heard really good feedback from the vast majority of the jurors that are coming over there, that they feel safe. We're keeping people distanced. We're only bringing in a certain amount of people, so we're finding that that's a good operation.
Wanted to ask you, away from those topics, about scams. We hear more and more and more of them, and they get more and more sophisticated. But a basic scam generally is targeted at someone who might be more vulnerable, and they really aim in at senior citizens who seem to be more vulnerable to scams and to falling prey to somebody, and I know that that's a special emphasis for you, and you've got actually some new things coming up for seniors and their possible avoidance of being a victim of a scam.
Yeah, our Elder Abuse Task Force, and I've been involved with that even back in my days in Delaware County. I was involved in their Elder Abuse Task Force. The goal with this task force is not simply to prosecute individuals that have committed a crime. The major goal is to prevent crime. So right now we have a distribution list. Once we learn of these new scams, and unfortunately there's new scams just about every week, we like to get that information out. And you know, the radio has been a fantastic partner in getting that information out to individuals through the county. What we're going to be doing over this summer is we have a crew of interns in our office and our staff. We're going to be reaching out to all the businesses throughout the county. And what our ask is that they become a part of our alert system, in which when we receive information on a new scam from the state police, from one of the municipal police officers, from the sheriff's department, when we learn about these new scams, we're able to push that information out. And then we're asking our partners to then get that information out to their customers, the people that come and spend time in their business, in their recreation center, in their gym. We're trying to find all of the avenues of where seniors are going to go.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at the coffee shops. I know my grandfather used to enjoy morning walks, and then he'd go meet his friends for coffee in the morning. And we're going to be asking those businesses just to post the information that we send out. Get that information to seniors so they don't become victims of crime. Because unfortunately, once that money is lost, we find it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get it back.
Yeah. And seniors aren't the only ones who are victims of scams. They're happening all across society. We had one here that was brought to our attention. One of our staff members got this email that said, Indiana Department of Workforce Development, due to numerous numbers of fraud claims, we request you to verify your identity. Then it gave you the address and then the phone number, and you were supposed to verify your identity, give your personal information for that. That's just an example of a scam coming out. And I think that for the most part, we're pretty sensitive to scams now and to the fact that something might be a little bit fishy. But it doesn't mean we're always going to catch it.
No, it doesn't mean, and we always have to keep that alert up. These scams just become more and more sophisticated. I'm sure people have received random text messages saying, "Hey, you've received this gift card from Amazon. Press the button here." Well, we all know that that's a scam. Amazon just not randomly giving you a $50 gift card.
Yeah.
So it's not just seniors; it's all of us that need to be alert and be aware that we're not sharing sensitive information. Because unfortunately, once that gets shared into these dark networks, you become more and more likely to be a victim.
Yeah, so we need to be very, very careful about that. Phone calls, emails, texts, they use every avenue.
Every avenue imaginable.
Yeah. All right. So that's one thing. We're trying to protect our elderly community members, and everybody else needs to be aware as well of the possibility of falling victim to a scam. From an overall standpoint, in terms of we're heading into a summer season, I know that you've got not only people on the lookout for scams and scammers, but you've also got people getting outside, getting more active. There's the opportunity for people to become involved in more nefarious activities, and you're looking out. Summertime's a different season, isn't it?
Summertime's a different season. We've all been cooped up in our house all winter, and it's been extra difficult with COVID over the last year. I know myself, I'm looking to get outside, go to the ball fields, go down in a hoodle bug and run. So everyone's just trying to get out. And I'm sure if anyone was driving this weekend, you noticed that there was a large amount of state troopers on the side of the road doing extra traffic detail.
Yeah.
We want to push that information out that you're going to see those extra patrols throughout the summer. Summertime, we tend to find there's more likelihood for DUIs, there's more likelihood for speeding and crashes. And our goal is that we want people to make better choices to stop before it even happens. I would prefer a DUI never happens rather than I'm prosecuting it in court. And unfortunately, it can happen very easily. Someone goes out and they have more beers than they anticipated, and they think, oh, I'm just over the hill, I'm right around the corner, and next thing you know, you're in an accident, you've hurt yourself, you've killed somebody, you got arrested for DUI. One of the things that I noticed, so a DUI, along with everything else, likely cost a person $5,000 to $10,000 in attorney's fees and fines and cost. And when I was on the Uber app earlier this weekend, just to find out, it would cost $10 to get from downtown Indiana to anywhere in White Township. Mm-hmm. And I know it's a little more expensive when you go around the county, but getting in an Uber, getting in a Lyft, calling a friend is so much better than making that choice to say, hey, I'm close, I think I can make it.
Yeah.
And again, I'd rather everyone get home safe, have a fun summer, than being arrested for DUI or worse.
The moment those flashing lights get turned on, you can count on $5,000 to $10,000 right there, and it could be much worse.
$5,000 to $10,000. Your name's in the news for having a DUI. You lose your license. Now you got to figure out how to get around without your license.
Yeah.
So we think the goal again is we just want people to make that choice before they get in the car.
Yeah.
Find a sober driver. Call a friend. Call Uber. It works out so much better for everybody involved.
I think, as I said on the air last week when we were heading into the holiday weekend, I think if people had a chance and they would look at the DUI criminal call list each month that comes out, it's very rare that that's less than 10 pages, and there are 10 entries on each page.
Yeah.
And that's DUI criminal call month by month by month, and some of them are just, there are people on there with 4 or 5 times their names appears on that.
Yeah, and you see so many DUIs, and it's one of those things where I don't think people fully understand. It doesn't take much to be a DUI impaired driver. Mm-hmm. It really does not take a great deal. So if you're out and you're having drinks, make sure you're being cognizant about what you're ingesting. Make sure you're being cognizant about what your friends who may be driving home are, and try to find a safe way home.
Wanted to get your perspective on this as well. We had Chief Shaw on with us yesterday and asked him about it. There have been in Indiana County in the last week 3 incidents of people who saw those flashing lights behind them and chose to press the accelerator down and try to run away. Very serious situations. All 3 of those ended in crashes and injuries to the person who was identified as the suspect. All 3 of them very, very dangerous situations. From a district attorney's standpoint, I know that's distressing And I know as well that you take that really, really serious from a prosecutorial standpoint, don't you?
Those are very serious cases because they place a lot of people in danger. Not only the suspect that's fleeing, you have your law enforcement that's doing their job. They're in that situation. Whoever else is on the road, families, it's an incredibly dangerous situation. I was called on all of those cases, and we will be prosecuting them as felonies, and we will be asking the court for incarceration in those cases. When somebody makes the choice to flee and put everyone at danger, it's just unacceptable. There's simply no other word for it.
Yeah, and they were all eminently avoidable things. The violations for which they were being pulled over were not really, really serious violations, and they could very easily have found themselves with a probation situation or some other situation, much lesser crimes than now they're going to face. So I guess what I'm saying, and I know you would back this up, is, it takes judgment. It takes wisdom to figure out, here's the situation. If I press that foot down on the gas pedal or I press the foot down on the brake pedal, there are two different consequences.
Two very different consequences. If those lights go on and you're being pulled over, you pull over to the side of the road, you be safe, you turn the car off, you roll the window down, the officer, the state trooper, they're going to be respectful with you, you be respectful with them. It's a very different outcome than an individual that steps on the gas pedal and thinks they're going to get away.
Yeah. All right. We're with District Attorney Bob Manzi. Just a couple of more minutes. Events or other things coming up that we need to know about? Anything on the schedule?
There's really no other events. We're still working through all the different calls and all the different juries. We're going to, like I said, we're going to have 2 weeks of jury trials this coming month. So I want to say thank you. There have been literally hundreds of individuals that have been called for jury duty over the last couple months, and then back in August, November. And I know that is a pain. Not too many people sit at home and say, man, I can't wait for my jury selection mail to come in. There are some, but not everyone. But those individuals who take the time and they come in for jury selection and they hear the cases, I always find that they come in, they take their duty seriously, they listen to the evidence, they listen to all the parties, they have spirited deliberations, they really want to get it right. And without that aspect, without those individuals that come in, the justice system just couldn't work. So there'll be more jury selection mailers going out. I received mine just 2 weeks ago. So they'll be coming out more and more, and we just ask people to come in and keep doing what they're doing, and that's taking that duty seriously.
Mr. DA, thanks so much for the visit.
Yep, thank you very much.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160 and AM 1160.